day of the American blockade here on the Persian Gulf behind me. So far, no reports of any major incidents, but on the topic of the 2-week ceasefire that we're in the midst of, a short while ago, a senior U.S. official telling Fox News that the United States has not formally agreed to an extension of the ceasefire. There is continued engagement between the U.S. and Iran to reach a deal. Now, a short while ago, also, the BBC reported that the Iranian military is threatening to block shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Oman if the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues. The U.S. says it's not allowing any ships in or out of Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz, but it is allowing other ships to use the strait. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper writing in full, a blockade of Iranian ports has been fully implemented as U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. Now, Kepler reports that yesterday 3 vessels passed through the Strait of Hormuz, and Fox confirms a 4th ship, a Chinese vessel carrying oil and chemicals, passed as well. Now, President Trump posted the truth within the past hour. China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? Now, here in the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia is pressuring the United States to drop the naval blockade, fearing it could cause the situation with Iran to escalate or further disrupt shipping routes. That's according to a Wall Street Journal report. Now, the UAE, the country that we're in, they have been very vocal about doubling down with their relationship with the United States and said they would even stand by the United States if force is used out on the Persian Gulf.
The world order is crumbling down, down. Give China man a big fat hug. Don't f around. Run to the border. Welcome to Donnie's world. Can I take your global order? But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what? Day? What day? It is. It's Hump Day. Get it on. Hump Day.
It's like, come on. Can we just keep it rolling for the show? Klein, I ask every hump day. Can we should just have like the baseline beat for the entire show. It's going to be a banger of a show, ladies and gentlemen, and we're excited. We're upbeat this morning. This is where you come for positivity, for a disciplined and energetic vision of the future. We have this because we have children, we have a family, we have hope. We have a purpose in life. This is not where you go for nihilism or despair or dooming or blackpilling. This is your historic White Pill Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Trump has done, again, a masterful Uno reverse card by making a deal with China to open the Strait of Hormuz. China is the ally of Iran. Iran is down bad. Never has a country been more down bad. And ladies and gentlemen, it seems like this ceasefire is now holding. Things are resetting. The world global order is crumbling, as they said in the song. As the Camels said, but also as Marco Rubio said, but also as President Xi Jinping said. Donald Trump heading to China very soon. Ready for the reset? We certainly are. Ladies and gentlemen, China agrees not to sell Iran any weapons. And Trump predicts Xi will give him a big fat hug. Okay. Senator Tommy Tuberville and Lauren Boebert will be joining the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. We wanted to begin this morning with what we call the big fat white pill. I want to sort of counteract some dooming that has been going on. And I hope that this brings uplifting to your feed. I've never seen more atomization of a political movement in quicker pace than what I've watched over the last 18 months. And that makes me sad. Some of the crash outs have been humiliating and embarrassing. We've tried our hardest to call balls and strikes. We only want the success of America And for us, that means the success of the America First movement. We support our president. We're a 3-time Trump voter, and we have so many close and dear friends and allies inside of the administration who are fighting for their lives in order to win. And winning, we have been doing a lot of winning. And we're going to highlight that today on the show. It's not going to make us very popular because having a positive outlook right now, building something, having dynamicism, having the bloody cheek to dare to have an optimistic outlook on the future, it's not in fashion. It's not in vogue. It's much easier to say that we're controlled or that our nation is over or that MAGA is over. That'll get you clicks. Boy, that'll get you retweets, but it's all fake. It's not true. In fact, the opposite is true. And this is why I know that this is all a psyop. We've been psyoped before, like not too long ago. In fact, every second of every day, there is a new psyop. Ones of recent note are that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files and is some type of like criminal predator. That's the opposite, actually, of what the Epstein files prove. And if you want to fight me on that, fight me. I'll debate anybody on that point at all. And do I agree with how they did the files? Whatever. No, I don't. But the reality is that like the people who are actually preying on underage women is Eric Swalwell and Democrat members of Congress. And it's always been that way. Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman, Jeffrey Epstein, a lifelong Democrat. These are the people who have actually been undone. The Clintons. We already knew about that. But they psyop you. They psyoped you into thinking that Joe Biden was the most popular president in American history. It's a psyop. They psyoped you into thinking that Joe Biden was a president. And that he wasn't a controlled muppet, a meat muppet. Yesterday. We have that clip. I know we have that clip. There it is. I see it right there. I'll show you. Here's a great example. Joe Biden thought that he was with Barack Obama on stage yesterday. Just happened to be random black guy, number 46712. But here's what Joe Biden did yesterday. This is the guy that they told you was the most popular vote getter in human history. Here we go.
I'd turn around to one guy and say, Barack, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Oh, come here, boy. Come here. This is the Eric Swalwell line.
On the right, and I should be standing on the left. Hey, did you just look at Barack? Anyway, as they say, you've done good, fella.
Well, you know, I tried.
I took my kids on the Haunted Mansion ride this weekend, and Joe Biden actually looks like quite a few characters from inside of that ride. Not going to call him on stage. Joe Biden is doing great. Keep it up, please. Let Kamala Harris also come back into the fray. There's so many positive things that we could be talking about, but instead we're fighting amongst each other. And I hate it. I disavow it. I don't like it. And I do have criticisms. And we do level those. And we do it in good faith. We do it for people that we love. We want people that we love to have good information. We want the administration that we love to be firing on all cylinders. We don't want there to be duplicitous people inside or out. It's our obligation, actually. It's what you do with a friend. Hey, bro, like, you've had enough. Go home. I'll get you an Uber. Like, we've had to do that a couple times, right? And it's fine. That's what you do for a friend. But I'm sick and tired of people having, like, a very, very low down and disparaging view. So happy tax day. A reminder that 1% of the earners pay 46% of all federal taxes. The bottom 50 pays 2%. So when they tell you, like Tom Steyer is telling you, because they stole another election in California this week, they stole that election. They stole it from Eric Swalwell. I'm not standing for Eric Swalwell. I'm telling you that, like, that's what happened. They took it from him. They knew that he couldn't win in a general when all this stuff came out. So they just straight up Biden that guy. They just kneecapped him. Tanya freaking Harding. Anyway, just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that when Tom Steyer tells you that billionaires should pay more taxes, he's a billionaire and he can pay all of his fortune to the federal government right now, and no one is stopping him. Not a single person at the IRS would say no. Every person at the IRS would say, please, may I have some more? So congratulations to you, ladies and gentlemen. I think congratulations are in order, Klein. Congratulations to you if you are an actual taxpayer in America and you're not a fraudulent Somali daycare owner, scammer, Medicaid hospice scum from the third world. You're the only ones keeping this place going. Actually, you're literally keeping this place going. Yesterday, Republicans had a clean sweep on the Miami City Council. Absolute dominant performance. Also in blue states, Republicans are overperforming in massive margins. Republicans scored a 23-point overperformance in the city of Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Okay, whatever. But I'll take it. That's exactly Rio Rancho. Klein sounds great. Sounds like a nice place to live. I would like, yeah, that's like, dude, why not Rio Rancho? They probably, we should buy a giant New Mexico ranch, you know, that's like way far away from everyone else where no one could ever like, you know, and we bury a couple bodies out there. Sounds like a great time. Invite some Democrat presidential candidates out. Really fun. This went the wrong way, but whatever. Okay. Paul Weimer wins. This was Donald Trump won the city by 3 points. A Republican just won it by a 23-point blowout. YouGov, which again is a PSYOP operation in order to depress you. YouGov said that Donald Trump would never win the youth. He did win the youth. YouGov constantly is running fake polls to tell you that things are depressed and that Republicans will never win again. It is left-wing coded intel operation. But YouGov, economist poll, about the most left-leaning poll in the world, says that Democrats will win by 15 House seats right now if the election were today. Well, that's something that a lot of people agree on, that it's a tough road in the House. And there's like a 1-seat majority right now. But this is not a blue wave. In fact, this doesn't even work when the math ain't mathin' in states like Florida, which may well redistrict and add another 5 seats for Republicans. The Supreme Court could come down and rule that all of these gerrymandered ass seats right here, all these spaghetti seats, these seats that look like a Rorschach blot test, those are all gerrymandered because of a racist law that says we have to draw congressional lines because of where black people live. That's insane. It's also unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court's going to call it that. And all these districts are going to go away. They're going to be fair districts again. You got Atlanta there. Atlanta's a problem, obviously. Wish Georgia would like figure out a way to break up Atlanta or to ship it to the Strait of Hormuz or whatever. But yeah, Atlanta's a nightmare. This ain't a blue wave. This doesn't even mean Democrats win the Senate. These elections can be won, and also they can be won in the future. Meaning the future of the Democrat Party is so dire, we have to stop them for one election. That's it. After the census, it's over. We have to simply be a firewall for a single election. Look at these numbers. You can see that the descendants of conservatives, because we are actually having children, are going to take over the land by the year 2100. Will I even be alive? No, I don't think so. By the year 2100, though, some people watching this may be alive. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If you live, yeah, that's right. Like if you live to be 100. Yeah, that's right. You live to be 100, born in the year 2000. There are people at this company that were born in the year 2000. No, that's true. There are people at this company that were born that don't remember 9/11. Anyway, they could live to see this. Look at this. I know. Look at this. You may well live to see a world where there's like 15% of the population are actual descendants of left-wingers today. 60% of the population descendants of conservatives. Why is that? Well, because Republicans are the only ones actually having children. We are the only party and the only ideology that has children. Leftism is a death cult. We're going to win. And if leftism doesn't import more of their voters so they can implant their ideology onto people that are actually naturally align, frankly, more with our worldview, and we do a horrible job of bringing more people from Latin countries, Catholic countries in to our party and explaining that. But nonetheless, look at these numbers. Legal entries at the border is down 99.99%. Can we get a round of applause for the administration for this? This is the single Yes, this is the single greatest accomplishment in my lifetime on immigration. You can see here, blue states and blue cities are dying because of this. A double-digit collapse in populations of foreign immigrants in these giant Democrat areas. And you can see here on the map, estimated monthly drop in net migration, Biden versus Trump. Every big blue city in the country collapsing in population. Naturalizations have been halved. The last time American naturalizations were this low was 1993. Did we have a better country in 1993? Yes, we did. Inflation is actually doing great. We hope, we pray that there is going to be now a collapse in gas prices, in grocery prices, in home prices. Far too late. We'd be in a much better position if this had been something that the administration had set themselves about doing immediately, but it does take a while to turn a $13 trillion ship around. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see here, more births, February 2026 versus February 2025. Every single state, a red state, most of them. We can literally outbreed our problems here. As long as the mass deportations continue, new report outlines mass deportations, interior ICE arrests have increased 5x. Street arrests are up 11x. Arrests to detention are up 4x. Voluntary departures have skyrocketed 28x. This is top 90% of this is on top of 90% asylum denial and removal orders from courts across the country. Look at these numbers. Don't ever black pill. Don't ever kill yourself. Don't ever try and kill your political movement. Don't ever hop on trends just for clicks and easy monetization. You debase yourself. You humiliate yourself. Stay true. Fight for your side. Keep fighting. Things look down. Things will look bad. You keep fighting. God always wins in the end. Look at this. Asylum grants. Look at what they've done to this. Asylum grants are fake, by the way. No one's actually looking for asylum. Everyone's actually looking for welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just our historic white pill for you. Can we get a white pill? Can we get a white pill stinger? Yeah, that's what I want. I want a giant white pill, right? Dissolving up into heaven, from America up into the sky. Okay, this is what we need to constantly remind ourselves. What is the purpose of this movement? The purpose of this movement is to make America America again. Pretty simple. Sum it up in one sentence. Make America America again. Ladies and gentlemen, our friends at Patriot Mobile have helped us in the searching and the finding of truth in our time, because you can't do that without staying connected. Patriot Mobile is helping celebrate the 250th anniversary, and we believe that the direction of the country is being decided right now. Make sure that you are supporting people that support you, Christian values, the only Christian conservative wireless provider, premium priority access to all three major networks, and 100% US-based customer support. Premium can get you switched over today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Promo code is Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just want, that's our white pill segment for the day. I wonder if Senator Tuberville agrees with us. We do have some top line news about Iran, China, President Trump, a bit of a master stroke when it comes to playing Trump cards and Uno reverse cards all throughout the Strait of Hormuz. But boy, the Strait of Hormuz is the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House politics up in Capitol Hill called a swamp for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Senator Tommy Tuberville wants to burn the place down in a good way, in a peaceful way, right? Mostly peaceful protest for Senator Tommy Tuberville. But I can't wait to hear him popping off on some of the recent dramas inside the House and Senate, and also the projection of America first here and abroad. Joining us now, Senator Tommy Tuberville. Dad joke. Senator, my team is roasting me for dad jokes. I get one really bad dad joke per show. So I'm sorry that I used it in your intro there.
Well, that's all right. Good to see you, Benny. How you doing?
Good to see you, Senator. All right. Let's just get it out of the way. So what the hell is going on with Eric Swalwell? How prescient is this style of behavior? I know you're in a different chamber. You're in the upper chamber. But people have assumed that these, members of Congress are scumbags for a very long time. I do find it ironic, Senator, that it's always the people that banged on about the Epstein list the loudest that were the ones who were themselves allegedly with underage women. What say you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about him. I don't know this guy. He's in the House, obviously. You hear rumors about things going on. Only thing I can tell you is what I've seen and heard up here is nothing but lies from the Democrats and pushing an agenda that's absolutely atrocious to this country. We're in trouble. This system up here, you call it a swamp. That's too good a name for what's going on up here. It's worse than a swamp. This whole thing's broken. Today's tax day, so you've been working 3, going on 4 months, and everything you've made is coming up here. And then what do? We squander it. We have $1 trillion a year that is stolen, fraud, everything that goes on up here. It's just a shame that we don't use this place as what it should be, and it's helping the American people. And as you said, I like what you said, make America again. You're exactly right. And I've been on the bandwagon about all these third world countries coming in here and living off the dime of the American people, the taxpayers, and it is getting worse. President Trump is building a mile of border wall a day. That's the information we're getting now, mile of border wall a day. But you've got to have policy behind that in the future, or that border wall is not going to make a hill of beans.
Yes, that's right. If Democrats get a chance to naturalize the millions and millions of criminal aliens that are here, and that's what they're going to do, they're going to immediately move to do that. That'll be game over for Republicans, and we have to stop it. How are you going to stop it, Senator?
Well, we got to bust filibuster. I'll be very, very honest with you. I get tired of hearing about these rhino senators up here on the Republican side going, oh, it's tradition of we've got to keep our power of 60 votes and we don't want to be like the House. We're getting ready to lose this country, and they're worried about tradition. I don't work for the Senate. I work for the American people, the people of Alabama. And if we don't get something done, right now, we're looking at one reconciliation bill between now and Christmas. They say we can get 2. That's a bunch of malarkey, because we're barely going to get one. And all that is going to do is fund ICE and TSA, which it should be, because the Democrats are holding American workers hostage. But at the end of the day, we have got to get something done while we have this president in office. He has got his hands full. He's working overtime. He's doing everything he can do to help. And what are we doing over here in the House and the Senate? We're handcuffing him to where we're worried about tradition. Tradition of this country is gone. As you said, America is gone if we don't do something and make something permanent under President Trump.
Yeah, Make America America Again is something that I really like. It's something that Brandon Gill, he's a congressman from Texas. He was on, last week. He went totally viral by just saying it. Like, I don't want, America is not Muslim calls to prayer every single morning. Yeah. America is not the caste system socially in our schools. And if you come here from another country and you want to be an American, you then reject that country. That's no longer your country. And that's just not happening, Senator. And it's not going to happen because of human nature. And I think it's time that we wise up to that. I think actually people have truly wised up to that. I think this is one of the major issues that we've actually fundamentally won on culturally. People don't like what's going on with the destruction of their communities, and with people that don't speak their language, they don't feel safe around, that are moving in and taking up resources while they do it. So what should be happening? What would, if Tommy Tuberville ran the show, and you will in Alabama, what will be happening in order to preserve our culture here?
Well, we put our priorities in the right place, which are not in the right place right now. Forget all of everything in the background. Let's look at a guy that got 80 million votes. That wasn't Democrat or Republican. They were just Americans. They didn't vote Republican or Democrat. Everything that goes on up here, Benny, is about, we got to get reelected. We got to keep the majority. Well, hell, we ain't done anything in the majority. Should we keep majority? We've got one bill passed, and that was President Trump pushing and pushing and pushing, and it took us 18 hours to get Republicans to vote for it. 18 hours straight on the Senate floor. And it's embarrassing that we're up here and we're raising money to continue with the same people being up here. It's just nonsense. It's really nonsense. And again, I meet with people. I meet with pharmacists that are going under because PBMs, which is basically a federal government giveaway and a theft ring of taking money from our pharmacists that are going under. And in my state of being in a rural state, a pharmacy is the hospital, the doctor's office, and the meeting place for these rural areas. So we don't look at the little things. We look at the big picture instead of looking at all the small things around our country that we're losing. And as you said, we got these third world people coming here, these Muslims. Now, wait a minute. They call it a religion. What religion do you know that says, if you're not in our religion, we're going to kill you and we want you dead? I mean, that's not a religion. That's a cult. And they took over Europe. It's gone. They're coming here by the thousands and nobody's worried about it. I've not heard one word in the Senate other than me speaking on the Senate floor about we better watch out. We better start putting in some parameters to stop these people from coming here, but they're concerned about getting reelected.
So what? It does seem entirely antithetical to the American experiment to have somebody like Ilhan Omar, who is on the campaign trail, by the way, with the president of Somalia. And he came out and he said, no, she doesn't work for America. She works for Somalia. We have the tape. We have the video. It's in whatever language they speak, but that's what he says. She is the Congresswoman for Somalia. This is the purpose of having her here. It's parasitic. It's obviously a cancer on the political body to do that because it's going to take away from Americans. We saw that in the fraud rings. What must be done about this? Should we pass a law that says you have to be born in America, right, to serve as a judge or a member of elected federal office? I mean, that seems like common sense. Well, we have that for the president. Yeah.
Well, if you talk like they talk, they should be kicked out. Okay, they should be banned from any committees. They should not be able to vote. I mean, come on. Either you love this country or you don't. If you're fighting against this country, you should be out of here. This nonsense that these young women over there preach about other countries is way over what they should be able to do working in Washington, D.C. But, Benny, I'm doing this interview in my office. And I can walk right out of the door, which I do, and I go over to the Capitol to vote sometimes when I go outside when the weather's nice. And you'll run into 4 or 5 different groups that are usually young Americans that are carrying other flags, that are preaching against our country. And it is just one after the other. I mean, it is embarrassing. What have we done? We've indoctrinated our kids in these universities instead of teaching them knowledge. Our education system is broken. And it just goes hand in hand with what's happening up here. They educate them in this indoctrination center, and then they ship them up here, and they just absolutely hate this country because of what they've learned in college.
What would be your preferred immigration policy?
Well, my preferred immigration policy, number one, you can't have one unless you get the borders closed. You have to have 100% closed borders on every side, top, bottom. And then you adjust to how many people you need here. Back in the 40s, we stopped immigration, totally stopped it because we were losing control of ourselves inside our country like we are today. And that's what I would do now. I would stop total immigration. Nobody comes, evaluate everybody here. If you don't like it, you're gone. And again, this country is a free country, but it's not a country that you can come in here and say, hey, we're deaf to everybody that lives here if you don't go do exactly what we say. So what I would do, again, we're bringing people from all countries, but I would totally stop it until we get control of this because we are leaking oil. All this tax money coming up here is going right out the door to $1 trillion a year being stolen from the taxpayers because of all these people that come here. As you said earlier, we've turned into a welfare state. They want our food. They want our housing. They want our everything that we got to go along with it free, and they don't want to have to work for it. So we need to turn this back to a country that works for itself. People inside work for it, but no freeloaders whatsoever. We need to take care of who we need to take care of. The elderly, the sick, our veterans, all the people that we used to take care of. Now we take care of everybody that comes here because we're nice people. We need to quit being nice and do what's right for this country, or we're going to lose it.
How frustrating has it been to work with rhinos in the Senate?
Oh, I hear them talk all the time. Well, I'm not going to vote for this unless, they do this. They blackmail people. How about voting for your state? How about voting for your country? Get over yourself. Get over your ego. Put a little pride back in our country. One thing, the Democrats are crazy in hell. They have gone off the deep end. When you think a man can have a baby, you have lost it. Okay. When I heard them say that on the Senate floor, I'm thinking, what country do I live in? And this is white American people that have been here for a long time saying nonsense because they want to be accepted into the far left goofballs of the Democratic Party. But it's hard to sit around and beg people to vote for something that the American people want and need. And we have to do that in our party. But we're getting ready to do a reconciliation, and everybody's saying we need to fund DHS and TSA. Hey, I'm all for that. We have to do it. Democrats aren't going to do it. It takes 50 votes and then J.D. Vance to come over. I'm not sure we got 50 votes. I'm not sure because they're afraid. They're afraid they might lose a vote. Well, they won't get elected.
We're gonna put the SAVE Act in those reconciliations? No, is that ship sailed?
No, it's not going to go in. Now, if we do a second reconciliation, we might have the opportunity. But what you're going to have to do is put some money involved in it that basically protects, federal elections in every state. Because if there's not money, a budget item in the bill in a reconciliation, the parliamentarian, who's a Democrat, by the way, will kick it out. And we will not have the opportunity to vote on that. So there's going to be some kind of transition to money given to each state to say, listen, we want our federal elections solidified. And I'd be all for that. We have got to do something, because if we don't, we lose this next election, which we got a good chance of doing. After not busting the filibuster, they'll bust it the very first day over here, and you're getting ready to see a third world country on speed dial. It'll go very, very fast.
Just before we move to the state of Alabama, and I know we're tight on time here, but we were at the White House and we were interviewing J.D. Vance, and we were interviewing him about fraud, and I just popped off a question about Ilhan Omar, and I had never heard nobody in an official capacity has ever said this before, but he said, no, we know that Ilhan Omar is here illegally, meaning she lied on her immigration forms and she committed immigration fraud. We know that. We have the documentation. Stephen Miller has the documentation. What should happen to Ilhan Omar, Senator?
Well, first of all, if I was the leader of the Senate and something like that happened, or if I'm Speaker of the House, Speaker of the House has the ability, which Nancy Pelosi did, by the way, took people off of committees, pretty much tie your hands of anything you can do to have any kind of responsibility. We should do that. She should not be allowed to walk in any committee room, do anything in terms of making a vote for or against the United States of America, which normally they're against. But we have to hold people accountable. Nobody's held accountable. That's Benny. I'll tell you this. When I'm in Alabama, everybody asks me, Coach, when's somebody going to go to jail? When's somebody going to go to jail? Because you and I both saw for 4 years the mass, the implosion of our border. When Mayorkas looked me in the eye several times, he didn't like me whatsoever. Of course, it was reciprocal. I'd ask him about the border. Oh, it's closed. The border's closed. And I'm thinking, have you seen television? Have you been to the border? Oh, yeah, I go down there all the time. The border's closed. These people are nuts, absolutely nuts. And they'll lie when the truth's better.
Mayorkas should be facing crimes against humanity,
100%,
in my opinion.
100%. He and Fauci. Fauci did the same thing. He lied to our face. And it's unfortunate that we put up with it. And we're going to continue to put up with lies, and we're going to end up with a country of that has no morals or no values.
They have good values in the great state of Alabama. You are running for governor of the state of Alabama. I believe you will be the next governor of the state of Alabama, and everybody in this audience should follow the great Tommy Tuberville. Now, you can follow him right here. The reason why is because, actually, frankly, the vast majority of the things that affect your life are done on a state level. That's why states are run so differently. The federal government, it's annoying, but it can't really affect your life as much as your state and local governments can. Tommy Tuberville is one of these guys. It's just like straight up running in order to keep a great red state red. I had a question for you about Alabama before we go, Senator and soon-to-be Governor. Alabama has one of these goofball, gerrymandered districts that the Supreme Court is currently reviewing or has decided upon when it comes to, effectively like racistly saying that, you're not allowed to draw district lines. You have to draw them a certain way because of the population of black people living there. What say you about Alabama's gerrymandered districts in favor of, races? It seems wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do things that are fair, but you don't do things because of black and white. I never looked at that. I didn't play players when I was coaching. Oh, he's black, so I'm going to play him, or he's white, I'm going to play him more. It's ridiculous. We got to get away from that. We've got to educate people on the fact that when you are voting in any area, you vote not for color or anything else. You vote for somebody that's going to represent you the best. And you see this happening all over the country. And we had a problem in Alabama with the last election. We had a judge that kicked it all out and said, no, we're going to do it this way. We've given a lot of power to these judges across the country. And unfortunately, we've got a lot of them that look at it totally different than making America America again.
Well, you know what? How about this? We'll put it on a T-shirt and a coffee cup, and we'll send it to you, Senator. And feel free to use it on the campaign trail. God bless you, and Godspeed. And everybody follow Coach Tommy Tuberville.
Thank you, Benny. God bless.
Thanks, Coach. And that's what we call a barn burner. We love the great senator from Alabama, soon to be governor. This is exactly how you change the country. It's how you change your lot forever. You must run. We're going to hopefully be partnering with a number of different organizations to get more good candidates, more people running and standing in the gap. It's the only way that you can actually win. And doing it on a local level instead of a federal level is actually quite smart. That's something that can affect your life and change the quality of your life. The difference in living in a blue state, which I lived in Washington, D.C. It's not a state, thank God, but it will be if we let libs have control. The difference between that and living in Florida is it's like different countries, man. It's like different countries. Go travel and see for yourself. Go to these blue cities. It's terrible. It's really, really bad. Ladies and gentlemen, different countries. We want the focus to be on America. We want this Iran war to be over. We do. We really do. And we believe that when this war is over, we're going to have a collapse in gas prices down to the mean, which would be about $2 a gallon. That's what we were seeing at the beginning of the year. Many people from the state of Colorado, and Lauren Boebert joining us in just 1 second, many people from the state of Colorado were telling us, yo, my gas is below $2 a gallon. I have $1.75, $1.79 gas in Colorado. It's an awesome state. I know Colorado votes blue from a statewide level, but it's an awesome state when it comes to gas and gas prices. Anyway, Trump gives Iran 2-day ultimatum as ceasefire holds steady amid blockade. As he surges more U.S. troops in the Middle East, President Trump now making deals with China. Let's go ahead and look here, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump's Truth Social saying, I have made a deal with China to not sell any new weapons to Iran. If they can't get any new weapons to Iran, then we're going to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing bad will happen. It's going to be a wonderful situation for everyone. President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I'm there in a few weeks. And we are working together smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? But remember, we're very good at fighting, and we have to far better than anyone else. It's true, though. So this is what you do in order to bring gas prices back down. And gas prices collapsed 20% yesterday. Gas prices are too high. Grocery prices are too high. Home prices are too high. Just is what it is. And these are the things that decide elections. And we have to win these elections. Now, a lot of these problems have to do with having 20 million people that are here criminally. You can't get a home. You think homes are too expensive? Well, deport 20 million people. See what happens to home and grocery prices. Why are groceries so high? Because 40% of the people that are getting groceries, the government pays for the groceries. Because they're either criminal aliens or they're on welfare and they shouldn't be. This is how you inflate these prices. President Trump can solve these issues. We already went through the immigration data. That's going great. Can solve these issues with the fraud, looking at and over the fraud. The FDA was there at the fraud meeting. We were there. RFK, these are the major fraud vectors of the government, is WIC, SNAP, Medicaid, Medicare. Anyway, you want those prices to go down. That's how you fix it. President Trump saying peace in the Middle East. Good. We'll get a big, fat hug. The blockade, by the way, has been working. Ships have been turning around. It's been wild. Chinese ships have been turned back. Meanwhile, American oil has been flowing at a higher rate than ever in American history. The Gulf of America is packed right now. Hey, Danny, can you get me the real time? Can you get me the real time tracking for the Gulf of America ships? You sent it into production yesterday. I thought it was pretty awesome. You can track the maritime ships. It's very cool. But ships have been turned around. These are, of course, ships that were trying to do deals with Iran. Iran is now begging, and we called the White House this morning. And what was I told by the White House this morning? They said, watch this space in the next 48 hours. That we've finally broken Iran, and that they are going to sue for peace. There's going to be a peace deal in the next 48 hours. That's what I was told from a very reliable source. So watch the space. It's officially over. Obviously, wars are fought until one side exhausts the other. It's really just like an exhaustion. Well, it's the same thing with UFC. Same thing with wrestling. You exhaust your opponent. You tactically suffocate them. And this is what's going on. President Trump from this morning. The war is over. Here we go.
Keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what? If I pulled up stakes right now, it would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. But we'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly.
That's pretty unprecedented. I mean, having direct talks like that.
I have talks with everybody, but it's very effective. I think you're going to have a great deal. I'm doing a great job for the country and for the world. You know, we've had no help, zero from NATO. We're there for them. They're not there for us. We spend, you saw the chart that came out a couple of days ago, with a big monster red ball, that was us, and all these little satellite balls, and it represented the money spent on military and NATO. And it's ridiculous. And they should have been better. They should have said, we'll send somebody. It's a small operation compared to a big operation. But NATO was not there for us. And what it means, if they're not there for us here, they're not going to be there for us. So why are we spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO if they're not going to be with us? If they're not going to be with us on Iran, they're not going to be with us on a much bigger subject than Iran.
Vance saying the ceasefire is holding. The president is going to make a very smart deal, a giant grand bargain. Let's listen.
Here's where we are on, fundamentally, the president set a policy, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and right now we are negotiating to make sure that very thing happens. And here's, what's interesting about this is, what's interesting about this is that we have this ceasefire that's in place. I think it's 6 or 7 days old. Right now, this ceasefire is holding. And what you're seeing is what the president wants to make, he doesn't want to make like a small deal. He wants to make the grand bargain. And what he's basically offering to Iran is very simple, and frankly, it's something that no president has had the ability to offer. He said that if you're willing to act like a normal country, we are willing to treat you economically like a normal country. He doesn't want a small deal. And that's one of the reasons why, one, I'd say in Pakistan, we made a ton of progress. But the reason why the deal is not yet done is because the president, he really wants a deal where Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, Iran is not state sponsoring terrorism, but also the people of Iran can thrive and prosper and join the world economy.
These are good things. You know, I haven't been like a massive fan of the war just because I don't like the distractions. That's all. Like, I want to focus on, I want to win. I want to win domestically. We have to win domestically. Iran doesn't vote in our elections. Americans do. I mean, I don't know how many mail-in ballots go to Iran. Probably a lot, frankly. But Americans vote in our elections. We have to serve Americans, and I want to win. So winning strategy is gas prices, food prices, and home prices. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Boebert from the great state of Colorado joining us in just 1 second. Got my food prices right here. Blackout coffee, which is very affordable, by the way. Blackout coffee fills my cup every single morning, gives me the energy, the caffeine to get through the day fighting the communists. And that takes a lot of energy these days, fighting the black pills and fighting the people who are obviously here to psyop our movement and to declare that MAGA is dead when it's not. Don't give in. Don't give in. Look at the data. Keep fighting. The data on blackout coffee is really, really good. The data is that every single morning I have 4 or 5 cups of this thing and we're ready to rock it with our morning show. It is a patriotic company, a company that loves America, a company that makes their coffee and brews it right here. Don't give money to the communists who make inferior coffee. Give it a Blackout Coffee. Perfect for work, travel, or keeping at your desk in a go bag. BlackoutCoffee.com/Benny. Use the code Benny for 20% off your first order. That's BlackoutCoffee.com/Benny. Support American jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who's been supporting America her whole life is the great Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, joining us live now. Congresswoman, how you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing great, Benny.
I was bragging on Colorado gas prices because when gas prices were at historic lows about the turn of the new year, it was always our audience in Colorado that was like, "Yo, we got like $1.75 gas here. What's that about?" That's amazing.
Yes. Well, we could make America energy dominant just in our state alone. Unfortunately, it's Colorado policies, state policies that prevent us from the drill, baby, drill agenda that President Trump wants so desperately. But we still have a lot of federal lands in Colorado, and we can safely frack it up and produce all of this oil and natural gas for America and the world. So in Colorado, we try to get it right. But unfortunately, Democrats took over our state about a decade ago, a little more, and have been doing everything they can to turn us into California. But we have hope this year. Governor Jared Polis is on his way out the door. And we have an opportunity to get a Republican governor and really turn things around. And then you're going to see some real cheap gas prices then.
All right, good. Speaking of somebody who is a provider of an enormous amount of natural gas in Congress, Eric Swalwell, who has also fracked his entire career and maybe his life up.
A lot of fracking.
Because now he might be going to prison. There are multiple criminal investigations going on, coast to coast, New York and California, into Swalwell and his behavior. And this is somebody that you've sparred with before. You have been on committees with him. Did you like ever hear about any of this? He's obviously been like very creepy. He's obviously a very creepy, lecherous man. But even I am sort of stunned at the depravity and the stupidity of this individual.
Yes, well, to former Speaker Kevin McCarthy's credit, he told the world that he had been in a briefing and knew exactly what Eric Swalwell's creepy life was like. And he said that not only did he not belong on the Intel Committee, where he has more clearance and more information than the majority of the members of Congress who are serving, but he also said he should not even be a member of Congress. And Nancy Pelosi stood there and said that he was fine, he could remain on the Intel Committee, and the machine protected him then because he was an asset to them then. He was a made man by them because he was providing what they needed. They needed somebody to spar against Trump. I know for a fact that Eric Swalwell used to call firebrand Republicans and say, "Hey, attack me on gun issues so I can debate you online and get a lot of posts, and people will see that I'm fighting to end gun violence and take Americans' guns away." And so he would intentionally pick fights so he can be this branded guy on the Democrat side that was acting like that he was tough and going after Republicans. But as soon as he was a liability to this very same machine that created him and kept him and protected him, they knifed him. They said, "You're out. We don't need you. You're a problem. And we're really close to Republicans taking over in California. So sorry, dude, you got to go. And now you have his best friend, Ruben Gallego, who, is riding shirtless and camels in Qatar with him and was even roommates with him here in D.C. And he doesn't know, but maybe he knew. There it is. Ew, gross. Were they fracking in Qatar? I don't know. Anyhow, now suddenly, he's like, oh, it was a double life. I knew nothing. He absolutely knew. Now, did I know Eric Swalwell's personal life? Absolutely not. He and I weren't riding camels together. But I know that he's a fraud, and I know that this is how DC operates. And look, I'll call out my own. Tony Gonzalez, I called on him to resign as soon as this came out. There is no place in the United States House of Representatives for conduct like this. It's gross.
Yeah. Obviously, but it's also not just gross, but it's also illegal.
Illegal.
Your colleague Anna Polina Luna says that some of these women were underage. We hear that there's a lot more tapes that will come out. There's dossiers on other Democrat members of Congress. Obviously, equal opportunity, kick them all out. But I guess I wonder, what do you think should happen to Eric Swalwell?
Well, there is no statute of limitations on rape, and these women are accusing him of rape. And so I think he has a lot of legal woes in his future and potentially jail or prison time. And that's exactly what he should get. And I don't think that he should have this taxpayer parachute that he gets to leave Congress with. He bowed out and resigned to avoid a very embarrassing expulsion vote that Anna Paulina was bringing up that I absolutely supported. And now he gets his pension and gets to now pay his lawyers for his future legal fees on your dime, Benny, and your listeners.
That's disgusting. So he's leaving with a golden parachute from Congress, so we're still going to fund Eric Swalwell's legal defense?
If what I looked at is right, he probably gets a $22,000 annual pension from Congress. And so he gets this, and there's nothing that fit sorry, my kids are bypassed, so my phone rings when they call, and everyone else is muted except for them and the president. Anyhow,
they probably have the same needs, Exactly. I'm hungry. Give me a cheeseburger. Give me a DoorDash. Yeah.
Yes, I want McDonald's. But he should be required to forfeit his pension.
Yes. Okay. So how does Congress make sure of this? I mean, humiliation is a great tool. Here's a post from you. Release the Swalwell files. You posted this about Ruben Gallego, his butt buddy and roommate, and they again traveled the world together. There's some speculation that Ruben Gallego engaged in this kind of behavior. Clearly a scumbag. I believe it's that he had divorced his pregnant wife, right, out of the blue. But how do what are you calling for here? How do you clean house exactly?
We expose them. This is exactly how we do it. We expose what is going on. And so when people have information, don't sit on it, send it, get it to folks like you, Benny, and put it out there for the world to see. This is why I went to the House floor kicking and screaming, demanding that the Epstein files be released in totality. I was one of 4 Republicans who really put it all on the line to force this vote. I mean, I had the political world coming after me, to try to prevent this. And I said, no, this is what is right. The Congressional Slush Fund, where $17 million approximately has been paid out to staff on the Hill who have accused their boss, a member of Congress, of sexual misconduct. Well, 357 members of Congress said, we're just going to kick this down the can to the Ethics Committee. Don't worry, guys. We're going to investigate ourselves. And me and Nancy Mace and Anna Luna, we sit on the Oversight Committee, and we said, we don't want the Ethics Committee overseeing this. We want to subpoena this file, and we want to see it ourselves, because we will put it out there. We will protect victims, but we are absolutely going to expose the sleaze bags who have had to pay off their staff and silence them for these allegations that were made of sexual misconduct. And innocent people don't make payments like that. And everything is scrutinized. If I spend any money through my office, my government office, that is highly detailed. It is itemized. You get to see everything that I am spending because that is your money that is being spent. But this slush fund is completely secret, completely anonymous. $17 million over many years, and you don't get to know who paid it and why? Not okay.
No, it's not. So you're saying that we're going to be able to see that, and we're going to be able to see which offices paid what?
Yes. So there were amendments that were made. So there are other House personnel, maybe even Capitol Police officers that were in this as well. Chiefs of staff, that payments have been made for similar allegations. There was an amendment made in the House Oversight Committee saying we aren't going to look into those payments right now. We want to know about the actual members of Congress that made these payments because they were accused of sexually assaulting their own staff. And this is something that we have subpoenaed. We haven't received it yet, but don't you worry, we're back in session. And us three girls, Lauren, Nancy, and Anna, we are on it, and we are going to expose them. And Eric Swalwell, Tony Gonzalez, this isn't the end of it. I think that this is just the beginning. This is a house of cards, and it's falling apart.
Your former bestie, George Santos, was on the show yesterday and said something
Wait,
similar.
Not former, he's still a great friend.
Your former, Congress bestie, now private sector bestie,
yes.
Was saying that the entire Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, House of Cards, probably a nod to Kevin Spacey there, is going to come collapsing down. And and that the actual and he made a lot of news by saying that the Page program in the House was actually ended because there were a lot of allegations of abuse of even these younger kids in the Page program. Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I just think that this town it's disgusting. We call it a swamp for a reason. And I mean, when you start to drain it, the creatures at the bottom start hissing and snarling and snapping. And, it's really, it's a gross place, and it doesn't have to be. Like when you come here, I have my team here for a staff retreat from Colorado. I want them to see the inner workings of Washington, what it's like when they send me to DC and they're back in the district working. And last night, we had a glowing view of the dome, and I made everyone stop and look and put down your phones, look at this. And I said, when you get here, if that doesn't create pause in you to say, wow, I can actually make a difference, this could be a beautiful place. If you don't think that, you don't belong here. If you get here and just look at it and say, I can do what I want, I'm entitled, I'm here, I'm better than everyone else, or there's no hope, then go home and let someone else step up. But when I come to DC, sometimes, I'm on that Frontier flight and it's miserable, but I see our Capitol dome and I think of American greatness, and I want to be a part of the solution. So if that means exposing creeps in Congress, so be it.
Creeps in Congress. I keep pointing people back to this because most people don't remember John Conyers. He's dead now, but he was a ubiquitous member of the Democrats in the House. He served for 40 years, and all of his staff came forward and said that as soon as he'd get back into his office, he'd take his pants off. And they said all of us have seen him pretty much naked. And I just want people to understand the kind of animals and the kind of creeps that wander the halls of Congress, who these people are. They're all just behind closed doors. They're all like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham's like out front, creepy little weirdo with strange personal life stuff. But a lot of these people, you close the door and then the guy would immediately take his pants off. That's what all of his staff said. All of his Democrat staff were yeah, he was just naked the whole time that he was serving. Yeah,
I mean, folks, are demanding UAP files be released and where are the aliens? They're here. I think these are the aliens you're looking for. They're not real. These people, where do they come from?
Yeah. Do you think that? Do you think that's what the alien hybrid program is that Matt Gaetz was talking to us about to make more members of Congress?
I mean, maybe it is, like we'll just create them. We know how to program them. We know how to get it right, as long as, they don't get exposed by Benny Johnson and the likes.
That really does explain Hakeem Jeffries. That really does. Like he literally does wander around looking like it. It explains Maisie Hirono really well, because she doesn't even speak English, and it's the program's all wrong there. Okay, speaking of people who don't behave human and probably are like lizard exoskeletons, Hillary Clinton. So you got under Hillary Clinton's skin. Boy, she lost it on you. You pissed her off so much multiple times. It's hilarious to watch. It's great entertainment. I really do wish it was live streamed. I hope it gets live streamed in the future. Thank you for sending us that little photo and triggering Hillary. I'm still alive. I'm still alive.
Some folks were accusing me of taking a $7,000 check from Benny Johnson to get that photo. And I was like, actually, he just texted me after I took it. And I was like, you want it? I wish I would have thought of that. Benny, where's my check?
That's right. We don't got it. We'll be happy though to post it for free on the internet for fun to piss off Hillary Clinton. We do that for free, baby. All right. We don't need to get paid anything. We've been doing that for 15 years. Now, you asked her this question about Pizzagate, which is a totally logical question to ask, just because this is what people are talking about. And in the Epstein files, even the New York Times has said, the Epstein files, there's very strange references to pizza all throughout this. Well, lo and behold, Hillary Clinton, of course, brushes you off. J.D. Vance last night says we need to have a full investigation into Pizzagate. What say you, Congresswoman?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I actually was working on getting the Anthony Weiner laptop because I want to see the files that are on this. And while we still had Attorney General Pam Bondi, she had sent me over to the FBI, and there is no active search warrant on that computer. And so they are saying that I am unable to view it without a new search warrant. And there has to be new information. I think these Epstein files give us new information to look into the Anthony Weiner laptop.
Yeah.
I absolutely want to know what was on there, what was the secret folder that was titled Life Insurance, that had frazzle.rip, where people get the frazzle drip story from. I want to see this video. If it's totally fake, if it's not there, I'll come out and say it. I want to see what people are talking about. These things don't just originate out of nowhere. So if it means issuing a subpoena from the Oversight Committee to get my hands on this laptop, then that's what I will do. If there's anything linking the Anthony Weiner laptop to the Epstein files, I will use that to get another search warrant. But I'm getting my hands on this laptop and looking to see what was in it. It's been said that FBI agents who went in and viewed this laptop, many of them are not alive anymore. And so, what is it with this laptop? Apparently, it's been said that many have committed suicide, that it was so disturbing. But also, a lot of people around Hillary Clinton and her cohorts seem to commit suicide, oddly.
There's a whole Wikipedia page.
A whole page.
Yes, that's right. There's a lot to unpack there, Congresswoman. So, why hasn't anybody seen what's on this laptop? And what do you expect to find?
Well, I think originally members of Congress were afraid of it. They were called conspiracy theorists, there was obviously the man who went into Comet Ping Pong Pizza and opened fire. Unacceptable. And so people just want to stay away. I don't want to be associated with it. I'd rather not know. I'm just going to believe the narrative and run with that. I have an election to win. No need to actually dig into something if it's going to cost me my seat and my place in office. So I want to see it. I want to know what's on there and investigate it. There are many things that we still need to investigate. Anna Paulina Luna, she chairs our declassification task force. She says the next thing we're bringing up is MK Ultra. Let's go. We have brought in members of the CIA in the past before Congress regarding MK Ultra, and we kind of just tapped them on the wrist and said, okay, please don't do that anymore. But there was nothing to actually enforce it. So is this still a program? Is this still going on? I mean, there are so many things that people do run with because there are no answers. And so maybe it's grown bigger than it should because there's no transparency.
Yes.
I want to bring transparency.
You bring up a great point, because we were told there's nothing in the Epstein files, but there's so much in the Epstein files.
Right.
Actually, as somebody who's gone through thousands of them and tens of thousands, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much there, and we were lied to and said, move along. There's nothing there.
Yeah,
That's not true.
correct.
And I think the same thing has happened with Anthony Weiner's laptop. And the more that you follow the story, his wife divorcing him, the Democrat Party deep sixing the guy, right, putting him in jail, like doing everything they possibly can to get rid of him. As far as I know, he's still alive. But clearly there's some type of cover up going on there. So you're saying you're going to get it. You're saying you're going to subpoena and get it.
I'm working every angle to get my hands on that laptop. Okay. Absolutely. And
FBI has it. I didn't actually know who has it. So the FBI has it.
Yes. The FBI still has it, but there is no active search warrant, so no one can open it up and turn it on. Maybe if it was, FISA and we're just, warrantless spying on American citizens, we could use that. But for Anthony Weiner's laptop, it's closed.
So I can't not ask a follow up on the MK Ultra request. So that's new. This is, of course, a CIA mind control program, or I guess that's the reductive way of talking about it.
Yes.
What do you expect to find there? They've admitted to this, just in case you're thinking we've gone completely over the edge. No, the CIA has said many times that this is real.
Correct. Yes.
There doesn't seem to be any explanation. I'll go there, Congresswoman. Mm-hmm. There doesn't seem to be any explanation for the guy who shot up Trump. We've gotten no answers on what the hell was going on there.
And I'm not satisfied with that. Yeah.
And like a lot of people, I guess to your point, it does beg the question, what are these people doing? Like, who's controlling them? Like, what's happening here? Maybe it is just a random act of violence. Sure doesn't seem to be the way that normal people behave, at all.
Especially when there is no information to follow. I mean, look how many years it took for us to get information on JFK and that assassination and RFK. These are things that I believe there was a deeper meaning behind, and that the government was absolutely involved in this. And is MK Ultra a factor? Are there patsies? I don't know. I don't have those answers, but these are the answers that I want. But it's amazing that the entire federal government apparatus still believes that the American people are too dumb to know the truth. Like, that is the most insulting part of our government. And if that doesn't infuriate you and make you want to do something about it, not violently, but like what I'm doing. I stood up and ran for office. I said, I want to be a part of the solution. I want to be the change. I want answers. I want to bring transparency. I hated my government that much that I wanted to step up and try to fix it. Yes. And to see that so many parts of the government are just like, no, you peasants, you American citizens, sit down, you can't handle the truth. It's very insulting. And I want to bring the truth to the people.
Just in closing here, what do you expect to find? Could you maybe lay the groundwork? Because clearly progress has been made on the UAP front and the Epstein front, and it took a lot of fighting, and it's commendable. What do you expect to find with MK Ultra?
I really want to see if this program is still being used and what they're using. I mean, decades and decades ago, there were different drugs, LSD and whatnot. We have very different drugs nowadays. Is there a different kind of program? Is it just experimental? Has it actually been put to practice? And I want to see if there was ever a hard line to shut it down. From what I see in the congressional hearings, there was not. It was just, okay, thanks for telling us the truth, and please just don't do it anymore. And maybe we need to have legislation that actually puts a stop to this. But maybe the CIA is too big to listen to Congress at this point.
A government above the government, right? This is These are the right questions. What in closing, you're the queen of pissing off Democrat elites in these hearings. What are you going to ask Bill Gates?
Bill Gates has a lot of explaining to do. I mean, when it comes to him, I want to know his association with Fauci and the vaccines. I mean, the amount of people who have absolutely just lost their entire livelihood is it's unforgivable. I don't have COVID amnesia. I want to know his associations with Epstein and all of these other, again, creeps in Washington, D.C. But we'll get some answers from him for sure. We're going to be bringing in a lot of folks into the Oversight Committee, more going into Judiciary. President Trump is in office. He's doing great. He has a great team. But there are still forever career bureaucrats that are happy to wait out his term and you try to destroy it from the inside while he's in there. But, more than term limits on members of Congress, we need term limits on the bureaucrats because they are lifelong career employees. And I think that they're the ones who are really destroying our country. So in all of this, we're bringing folks in and getting answers to everyone. Back home in Colorado, I still have a lot of legislative work. We had a very Arizona winter in Colorado. We didn't have much snow. Sorry for anyone who came out and tried to ski on our mountains this year. There wasn't much, but we have a drought issue. I'm working on water storage projects and infrastructure projects. I'm working for our farmers and ranchers. So while there's all this mess in Washington, D.C. and corruption to clear out, there's still actual legislative work that I'm doing in tandem for my district and for Colorado. This is our opportunity. These midterms in Colorado, we could have a new governor. We can have Mark Baisley, our GOP nominee for U.S. Senate, in serving here in Congress with me. I could have an ally in Congress. There's the potential, but Republicans, we have to stop eating our own. We have to stop fighting each other. We've got to come together. We have the same agenda, the same solutions, the outcomes that we desire. But it's a big tent party where you're allowed to have individual thought. Democrats aren't allowed to do that. And, sometimes that brings a little bit of bickering to the party. But my focus is really to get Republicans together and take it all back.
I will join you in that fight. That's how we started the show.
Yes.
Is that there are actually massive wins and we don't talk about them enough because I think we're getting MK Ultra'd. I think we're getting psyoped. I think that's what's happening. They realize that this is a winning coalition that would have led to 100 years of MAGA, and they have done everything they can to peel off every single shield, every single scale, every single utility that the president has, and they've done actually a damn good job of it. Mm-hmm. Their mistakes have been made, but the alternative is insufferable. The alternative, I cannot tolerate, and it's so important to keep our eyes trained on the left, and our attention trained on the left and what they're doing. And so that's what we've set our show about doing.
Yes.
Thank you,
Congresswoman. It's called programming for a reason.
Yes.
We have TV programs. It's programming.
Thank you, Congresswoman, for doing the same thing. And I'm really happy that you don't have to share a building with Eric Swalwell anymore. So
glory.
Everybody follow Lauren Boebert, ladies and gentlemen. Lauren Boebert is right here on social media, 5.1 million followers. Nobody that we bring on has more followers on X than us, except for Lauren Boebert. And oh man, I'd be remiss. I'm so sorry, Congresswoman. I've got to ask because JD Vance asked. JD Vance gave me this answer, and I completely forgot to ask you. JD Vance said, "Yo, we have criminal records of Ilhan Omar lying on her immigration forms." He told me that. He says Stephen Miller has the files. What should happen to your bestie Ilhan Omar in Congress?
Well, anytime I hear the administration has files, I kind of clutch my pearls and wait, what do you mean? Is it in a binder? I don't know. Whose desk is it on? I think that she is another one. A censure isn't enough. She needs to be expelled from Congress. This is immigration fraud. And, it's another well-known secret, right? That's just going to come out and the Democrats are all of a sudden going to say, oh yeah, we knew, but we needed her then. So, hopefully they just continue the track that they're on in trying to be transparent and will join us in getting Ilhan Omar out. This is absolutely something that everyone needs to bring out. If the admin has the files, show us. We're not too dumb. We can handle it.
Yes, show us the files. Don't let her run for re-election.
Right.
What the hell is going on? Like,
Yep.
release it to the American public. Let's start a criminal referral, like, immediately.
Yes. Agreed.
Right. Will you be the one to bring the expel Ilhan Omar to Congress from Congress?
I would love to go ahead and say that one's mine. Yes, I have dibs on the Ilhan Omar expulsion. Yes.
The brother lover comment from the well of the house is still just an all timer for me. I'm not sure there's a single more quotable thing ever said from
that was a great line. I'll have to use it again during the expulsion speech.
Obviously, in this interview, you know why you should follow Lauren Boebert. You're crazy if you don't. Ladies and gentlemen, Godspeed, Congresswoman.
Thanks, Benny.
Great American. Great American. Lauren Boebert is a great American. Man, we'd have a different country if we had 435 of those, right? Like, oh, man, if we just had a couple more Lauren Boeberts, we'd have such a different country. Here we go. American financing will make sure that the time that you're spending in our country is as American as possible. Getting you out of debt slavery is a critical move when it comes to advancing your life. It's something you should want. Debt slavery is high interest credit card debts, percentages of 20 and 30%. Trump says they should be illegal. I believe they should be illegal. I think they're immoral. You can read the Bible and find that they're immoral. Anyway, American financing is America's home for home loans. You can call them today at 888-528-1219 and get out of your debt, reconsolidate it into something more on the Fed's funds rate, like 5%. That's reasonable. 888-528-1219, americanfinancing.net/Benny. If you want another little uplifting bit of information, then I would like to direct you to this incredible video of a school principal who burst through the door and tackled a gunman before getting shot himself, saving his high school of what could have potentially been another Columbine or, Parkland, right? Amazing to watch. Check this out. So this is like the entry of the school, and you can see the gunman that walks through the doorway here, and look at that. Look at that. Incredible. What is the psychology? What is the psychology that says there's a psychological principle of people getting, frozen and not taking action when something bad's happening? It was developed in like the 70s, where psychologists watched somebody get stabbed in the streets of New York, and nobody did anything. Nobody acted because nobody either felt the compunction to act. Nobody was told to act. If you would tell people to go disarm that man, then they'd do it. This is true bravery. This is true spirit. This is what America's made of, man. Security camera footage captured the moment an Oklahoma high school principal tackled a gunman, led him to getting shot in the leg by the suspect. Nonetheless, Kirk Moore is hailed as a hero after he burst out of a nearby office to restrain the armed intruder and force a weapon out of his hand. The shooter is a 20-year-old. Victor Lee Hawkins is his name. He was armed with 2 semi-automatic handguns. He was walked into the lobby of the Pauls Valley High School. He could have killed so many people. The gunman told everybody to get on the ground before trying to shoot one student. Investigators said the weapon jammed. Thank God, a miracle, actually. But after he fixed the malfunction, he fired at another teenager. He missed, and 2 students begged for their lives. They were allowed to leave, with the other following before Moore rushed out of the nearby room and tackled Hawkins. Absolute and total hero. The high school principal pinned the shooter down to the bench, forced the weapon out of his hand, was shot in the leg. Moore's hospitalized. He's now healthy and recovering. He's an absolute hero. Hopefully we can book him on our show. Kara, you hear that? Kara's our booker. She's awesome. Kara, let's book him on the show. Talk about a pro-life move. This gunman could have... Look at this image. Klein, show me that image. Look at that. Look at that image. Look at that. Can you zoom in? Look at that image. You can, see that this principal is literally, physically putting himself in the path of the gun. Look at that. The absolute bravery. Talk about servant leadership. You never see this anymore. You never see it. It's worth highlighting. I want to have a positive show today. It's worth highlighting. True, profound, sacrificial, and servant leadership. God bless this principle. God bless this principle. Wow. We got to send him something. We got to do something for this guy. This guy's amazing. What an amazing man. You never see stuff like this anymore. God bless this man. Preborn is who we partner with because we are pro-life. Am I as pro-life as that principle? I would be for my own family. Somebody was charging them with a gun. This is exactly the kind of man you want as a principal. I am pro-life. You sacrifice. Love hath no, greater love than this. Man who lays down his life for his friends. And there's a lot of sacrificing going on, sadly, in the wrong direction in this country. The sacrificing of children, I believe it's satanic. I believe it's evil and demonic, frankly. I don't want to be silent on it. I'm asking you to join me at Preborn Network Clinics. A woman is welcomed with compassion and given a free ultrasound. She sees her life growing inside of her, often for the very first time. It's a sacred moment. Fear gives way to clarity. And she's offered something the abortion industry will never provide, hope in Jesus Christ. This April, our goal is to have 11,000 gospel conversions in Preborn Network clinics, trusting God to bring increase as we remain faithful and speak. You can make that possible by sponsoring ultrasounds. $28 provides 1 ultrasound. $140 provides 5 ultrasounds for mothers in crisis. Dial and donate today. Pound 250 and say the word baby. That's pound 250 and say the word baby. Visit preborn.com/Benny. Preborn.com/Benny. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole wide world, it seems, is calming down, hopefully. All right. Let's hope for the best. End of Trump's military operations against Iran. I mean, he straight up said that it's ending today. Check the markets. Obviously, April 15th, that would be today, the 2% chance of that. But an 80% chance by the time you hit May and June. And that's what we want to see. It's gotten it a little tight, honestly, for the economy to turn around. The economy does have really great signs of strength, and we want to keep that going. That's obvious. This is obviously this and the fabric of America are the two things that will win in the midterms for us. And we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to keep campaigning, and we're going to keep going. And we're not going to blackpill. We're not going to take the easy click. We're not going to betray our audience, you. And this is how we win. We keep fighting. Also, the verse of the day is how we win, from 1 Corinthians 4:5. The Lord will bring the light of things now hidden in darkness, and will disclose the purposes of the heart. Judge a tree by its fruit. Somebody living a peaceful life, are they building? Are they growing? Are they creating? Are they doing their best? Or are they there for destruction? That's how you should also judge podcasters. You should also judge the people who you listen to on a daily basis. We do our level-headed best to simply provide clarity and uplifting to you on this show. And we thank you for marching with us on to victory. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
The world order is crumbling down, down. Give China man a big fat hug. Don't f around. Run to the border. Welcome to Donnie's world. Can I take your global order? But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what? Day? What day? It is. It's Hump Day. Get it on. Hump Day.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for number one. to mine the salt from lids for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for #1, the biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.